Yes. So today we have to start with the measures to remove poverty. In the last class we have discussed with the causes of poverty, as well as we have done with the definition of poverty, that is absolute poverty and relative poverty. So now we have to deal with the measures to remove poverty. That is, you can have four measures, mainly four measures to remove poverty. That is, first one is to improve GDP growth. Second one is to ensure proper fiscal measure as well as legislative measure is properly done, and the third one is controlling poverty through the population growth, and the fourth one is other measures enhancing the quality of the life of the people. That is, if standard of living is improved, we can have more fight against the poverty. So these are the four measures, and we have to look through all these in details now. So moving through the GDP growth, that is, in a country, GDP is the total value of all goods and services that is produced in a country during a year. Okay, so that is, if you take all the final value of goods and services that is produced in a country within a period of time, that is, we say it for 1 year, you can say that that is a GDP value. Now if you look through, see, now itself the post-COVID situation is that we are struggling actually with the GDP growth. Actually we were in the 7.1, 7.2 in that range, but after you can say post-COVID situation is showing that it has very much decreased, or it has shown a rapid decrease to 4.1, 4.7 some in between that. So that itself is showing that our GDP has tremendously came down. That means again we are dealing with, or we are fighting with the poverty situation. So if in a country we are properly done with GDP, means there is nothing to worry. So GDP is increased means we have actually proper standard of living. Okay, so that means if GDP is, like you can say, if it is going moderate, or if it is going very smoothly, we can ensure that there will be no obstacles in the economy. That means we can easily fight with the poverty situation. So that means it will very directly, it has a very direct effect on the poverty reduction. So that means GDP growth has a very important place to very important role to play to control poverty in a country, especially a country like India where we have more population. As you all know, as per census 2011, now the next census will be in 2021, and now as far as 2011 census is considered, we have 121 crore of people. So it is not easy to take care of all the such a big number of people. So there will be, there are so many hindrances, there are so many obstacles to go to function an economy. So that means population, where country like India where we have more population, we have more obstacles to fight. So that means if GDP growth is properly looked out, so we can actually fight most of the problems our economy is facing. Our economy is facing most of the problems because we are dealing with more population pressure. That is why. So we could not match our GDP with the more population pressure. So that is why there is a mismatch happening, and also there is poverty coming up. So combating poverty through GDP growth is one of the major program, or you can say that is a major policy government has implemented. So we are actually moving through the policies, we are implementing policies to increase the GDP growth of India. Next one is through fiscal and legislative measures. Fiscal measures means government. The government is taking the measures to control poverty. Okay, so not at all poverty. Fiscal measures means, as we have already discussed, it is the government measures to control the disturbances happened in the economy. So first one is, the government can have a progressive tax structure. That means, see, when progressive tax structure. Progressive tax structure means, see, when income is increasing, we are increasing the tax rate also. That means poor people are taxed less and the rich people are taxed more. So what will the government do is, the collected amount from the rich people, they distribute to the poor people for the equitable distribution of income. See, if equitable distribution of income is there, means actually the problem is solved. The poverty problem is solved actually. So we have to ensure equitable distribution of income in the economy. So in our country, what is happening is rich is becoming again richer and poor is becoming again poorer. So what the government has to do is they have to follow a progressive tax structure. That means higher people, or you can say rich people, are taxed more and low income people are taxed less. Okay. So that is a progressive tax system so that you can have an equitable distribution of income. Then tax receipts of the government are used to subsidize the purchases by poorer sections of the society. That means the government has to provide subsidies to the poor people. For providing subsidies, from where the government is getting the money or revenue? It is from the tax revenue. Okay, as discussed in the first point, the government uses the taxes collected from the higher sections of the society to help the poorer sections of the society. So that means they use that tax revenue to subsidize, or you can give, or you can say to give subsidies to the poor people. Okay. So next is next is capital grants are offered to the poor for construction of their houses and for self-employment. So capital grants or capital receipts. I don't know whether you remember, you had a what you can say, a division called capital receipts in the capital budget of the government budget, right? You have both revenue budget and capital budget. So capital receipts. Capital receipts means by selling and buying of shares, what you can say, other assets, all such things. So that they can use for building houses for the poor people or for generating self-employment for the poor people. So now itself you can see so many policies are coming up, like Mudra loan, that is they are providing up to 5 lakhs to encourage the people to have more what you can say, self-employment, that is starting up. So there is small startups. That is how they what you can say, they expand, then they can have their livelihood properly. Then comes the legislative measures. Legislative measures means actually the government has to ensure a price floor. That means a minimum price, minimum legislative price for all the commodities. Say rice. See, for rice, it should not go beyond this price. If rice is costing 1 kg is costing rupees 150, 300 rupees, how poor people will manage to buy that? That is why government has been what you can say, interfering in the policies and programs and finding or fixing a mere rate. That is now itself you can see rice is available at the rate of 2 per kg. That means a minimum price which the people can afford to buy. See, rice and all, the food staples, they are like, all these things are very necessity in our life. So if necessities possess more price, means there itself is a risky situation. So that itself creates a poverty situation. So that means the government has to control the price system in the economy. That means it is a mixed type of economy we follow, right? So for certain extent the government leaves the market situation or market decisions to the market, that is demand and supply. But after that, after certain situation, the government starts to interfere in the economy and fix upon the price. So that is minimum price or price floor. That means the government decides upon a very minimum price for all the necessity commodities. That is to ensure that it is not going below that, or you can say if it is going below that, the farmers or the producers are facing loss situation. So to ensure that it should not go beyond that, like below that. So that is minimum price legislation. So next is combating poverty through population control. So if more population is there, you cannot handle the population. So there are necessary situations to handle population control also. And other measures we'll be dealing with in the next video. Okay.